Want to get to know your fellow VeeFriend holders before VeeCon? Well, through the VeeFriends family, you'll meet other VeeFriends holders, learn why they bought into the project, and their hopes for the future of this community. Go ahead and subscribe on YouTube and follow VeeFriends Fam on Twitter to get notified when new episodes air. I'm your host, William Glass, holder of an organized ostrich core. And without further ado, on to the show. Gabriel, welcome to the VeeFriends Family Show. Excited to have you on. Take two.
I know. I had some technical difficulties getting in here, but we made it.
We did. Well, I'm excited to have you on and hear a little bit about your story and introduce you to the rest of the VeeFriends family of holders. So, would you
No,
mind
excited to be
giving us a
here.
little background on who you are, and we'll go from there.
Sure, let's get into it. So my name is Gabriel Aleman. I'm an original VeeFriends holder from day one. I'm currently holding the Determined Dolphin core, which, man, I'm one of those people. I'm sure everybody feels the way. Like, man, I bought more. Wish I bought higher. But a lot of us are very new to this space. That was indeed my first VeeFriend. Currently, I am in tech sales. I've been in tech sales for a couple of years now. Always been a big lover of technology, which is partly why I got really attracted to this space. Through COVID, I started working from home, which gave me an incredible amount of flexibility to be able to spend time really doing what I want. I'm constantly in front of screens, so it's not difficult to really peep over and see what's going on in the Discord or, just do some side research. And I ended up falling down a really deep rabbit hole in NFTs and absolutely fell in love with it. So that's what kind of got me here.
That's awesome. Yeah. So the Determined Dolphin was your first NFT. Is that right?
Yes, very first NFT in general.
Okay. So have you been interested in the space? Like you said, you went down the rabbit hole. I'm
Mhm.
assuming it was after or around the same time that you bought Determined Dolphin, or like talk to me, like how did
Sure.
you decide to buy into the project?
Yeah, so I've been following Gary Vee for, I want to say 4 years now, maybe close to five. I started when I was in college. I started just getting into more like wanting to go down like a self-awareness journey, and so I would listen to different podcasts. I would listen to different like motivational videos. Right, kept hearing this guy just out of nowhere, super loud compared to everybody else. These like frantic things that he would say, but they made sense. I'm like, man, I gotta figure out who this guy is, because at this point, I pretty much knew everybody that I was listening to in these compilations, and I didn't know who this guy was. It was Gary. And so I started kind of following him. I followed him on a lot of socials. This was back when he had like 200,000 people on Instagram, just for a little bit of context. And so I've been following him for a long time. And one thing I noticed about him is he never asked for anything. All he did was give all this value, give all this advice. And I really vibed with him well. So he started dropping all these hints and these little doodles. And like I was following him pretty intensely at the time. I'm like, man, what is this guy doing? I kept hearing some whispers about like an NFT project. I'm like, what the heck is that? So I started just diving in and really trying to understand, what was possible with this technology. I had been following cryptos for a while. I bought Bitcoin back in 26. No, this would have been 2014. It was around the time there it was like $1,000 for a Bitcoin, which is wild.
Yeah.
Ethereum was like nothing. And those were like I also got into Litecoin a little bit. So I've been playing around with cryptos for a little while, and so I was familiar with the blockchain, which made it easier to understand for me. And I followed just a lot of his podcasts where he started talking about it pretty intensely and what the technology could do. Every time he opened his mouth, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that application. And you start putting pieces together. And in hindsight, I knew nothing about it when I bought in. I definitely should not have invested that money into the project. I would have given myself different advice now, not knowing what it would have done. But when Gary was doing this project, all I could think of was he's never once asked me for a dollar. He's given me an insane amount of value. The least I can do, if nothing else, is support this project. And so it's kind of my like selfish way of giving back, while also knowing if nothing else worked out, I'd get a conference in the end.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I like that kind of trajectory and similar kind of journey myself. My organized ostrich core was also the first NFT that I'd purchased, and also wish I would have done more. But
Sure.
you know, hindsight, right? So
Yeah.
that's really cool. That's really cool. So why the Determined Dolphin? What made you want to mint that token?
It's kind of a heartbreaking story. When I was looking at all of them, this is before we knew really anything about the potential of this project. I picked Patient Panda. I was gonna get a Patient Panda because that was like, I got kind of the concept behind, all of these descriptions for these things. I'm like, I really vibe with patience because it's one of my, we'll say one of my halves, referring to his book, and it's something that I'm really focused on working on right now. Like, so I want to have that like in front of me, have some buy into it. So I'm gonna go for the Patient Panda, and those sold out. Like floor was like 2.5 on those, which is nuts. But so it was a little heartbreaking seeing that guy take off. But I've just I like dolphins in general, and I've always vibed with determination and grit and some of the a little bit more aggressive descriptions for some of these. Just putting in the work, especially in sales, right? Like it's a
Oh
gritty
yeah.
job. So yeah, I thought he was cute. I could picture him being like a little boxer, and so I decided to go with that one. My girlfriend kind of helped me too. She's like, "Oh, I love dolphins. That one's super cute. Get that one." Okay. So it kind of
Nice.
worked out that way.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, Patient Panda, right? And in hindsight, that's
Sure.
going to be one of the big characters it seems like. So,
Well, it's cool too. He actually, I got a little excited because he made a really subtle comment in the Discord a couple of, maybe this was 3, 4 weeks ago, about something interesting just happened with this character, and then put a rare Determined Dolphin in there. I was like, oh, finally, yes. Because he hasn't said anything about it so far. Like, okay, maybe this guy's got to be relevant. Let's go.
there we go. Yeah,
Got
exactly.
me a
Yeah,
little excited.
I'm sure he probably wants to do something with almost every character. I guess it's
Oh, for
just
sure. It's
what
just a matter of
order
when.
and
Yeah.
when and how it all comes together.
Remember, I'm working on patience, so I was that helped a little bit for me.
Exactly. Exactly. Did you get any of the book NFTs, or did you go
Oh
down
yeah,
that?
I
Yeah.
I'm sitting next to one of my 84 right now, and it's funny because I think I bought 20, or I was gonna buy 36. I bought 30 on Amazon because you could only buy up to 30 at once, and then bought a six purchase. So I had 36 coming from there. He made a comment about Barnes and Noble. I'm like, oh shoot. So I need to get some from there. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I'll splurge. I'll get 24 more. And then I spent like 4 hours watching his live stream, and then I was like, you know what? We're gonna do another 24. And just I had three different transactions, and but I looked at the timestamps, and they were probably only like 10 minutes apart.
Okay.
So it didn't take long. And then I spent like 2 more hours. Do I get more? Do I get more? Like, no, I shouldn't. I shouldn't. But no, I'm really excited to see how it plays out. That'll be a lot of fun. I've only gotten a chapter into the book, and I'm loving it so
Okay.
far.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I yes, similar thing. I was gonna keep buying, and I was like, you know what? I went to a movie or something with my mom, like during that when that was happening. I was
Yeah,
like, I don't have to buy it now. I've got 24 hours. Like I'm gonna sit
right.
on
Take a
this because right,
breather.
yeah, take a breather. Like let's take foot off the gas, which may or may not have been a really good decision. We'll see what we'll
I
see. It
guess
seems
we'll
like
find.
there's
Knowing Gary was a horrible decision and should have bought more. That's
exactly.
kind of what he always tries to go for. He's like, I will make sure that everybody wishes they bought more in
Yeah.
everything that I do. I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
which
great.
I hope that's the feeling, right? That versus like, man, I spent too much. So yeah,
Yeah.
no. But you got how do you know how you're gonna give away some of your books, or are you like it's a lot of
That's a
books.
great. It's a good enough amount of books. I mean, everyone's getting them for Christmas, that's for sure. I'm in Ohio right now, and I've got family out in Oregon, so I'm gonna send some over there. Have a couple people that are in a similar kind of business, and so I'm gonna send some there. Um, I like the idea. In some cities, they've got those like freestanding like books where you like take one and you give one in there. So I'll probably put a couple in there. I'm by my high school I went to, so I'll donate some there. Just trying to spread it around as much as possible, right? Rather than just throw them all into one place.
Yeah.
So those are some of the ideas I've got so far. Some of my top accounts that I work with, I'm probably gonna send the CEOs that I work with a book just because. So
Yeah, might
I've
as
got
well.
enough. I've got enough
There you
to
go.
spread around. I don't need them all.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need to read each one, right? That's a little excessive. So,
Right.
nice. I like that. I like that. So, what led you I'm getting back more like kind of into your story, like what led you into tech sales and then also like what do you like to do? We kind of talked about like the job stuff and
Mhm.
obviously VeeFriends NFTs now is something that you enjoy, but like talk to me a little bit about like who you are and you know what you're the types of people you'd like to connect with at VeeCon.
Yeah, absolutely. So my one of my first jobs was working at Best Buy. I was there for maybe 5.5 years, and that was kind of what led me to realize, hey, I'm really good at this sales thing, and I really love technology. Like if things hadn't played out the way that they did, would have been okay working there for the rest of my life. I loved that job. It was so much fun, and I've done a lot of thinking about it, and it's really just because I love the pace. I love how fast things change. I love that every day I walk in, there's something new. Whether it's something new for me to play with, something new to show other people, a new solution to solve a problem that hasn't been solved yet. Um, and the reason I was good at the sales piece is because I'm good with people. And I'm good with people because I love people. Everyone's got a different background, a different personality, a different story, different skill sets, and it's just a lot of fun to me, just that whole world. And so I've been in exploration phase, trying to recreate that environment, but I have a different trajectory in mind versus like, $10-15 an hour. So yeah, it wasn't commission, which sucked even more. Um, and so I started going into a couple different sales roles, but I landed in a tech sales job, um, just through some networking, and was like, okay, this is helping with the trajectory piece, and I'm learning a lot of really good skill sets and, um, just in sales in general and business, because I'm working with so many high level executives at 1,000, 2,000 employee companies. You've got to have a certain level of acumen to work with them. And ultimately, I just realized, like, okay, I want to eventually start my own business. I've got an entrepreneurial mindset, and I've developed the thick skin to be able to handle working hard and rejection and all the things that come along with that, right? Like all the nasty pieces nobody wants to talk about. Um, but ultimately, just creating something that solves a problem or makes things easier for people, things that uh, just help them overall and give them a better experience. And I want to do it in a place that I really enjoy working in. And like, while I enjoy my job right now, I I have not felt a passion or a pull to anything since Best Buy like I do with NFTs and this whole space in general. And so I am working really, really hard to try and find my way in this space, figure out where I can play, and ultimately the people that I can play with. So um, the VeeFriends was a really big move for me. Definitely my biggest move in the space. And just because of the people that I know that are in this space that I want to be able to connect with, and ultimately, maybe even start businesses with.
I love that. Yeah, I think being a part of the VeeFriends community is definitely a good spot to be in if that's the interest. I mean, there's
I don't anticipate it hurting in any way.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's so much opportunity, right? Like I'm based in New York City and like, uh, yeah, NFT NYC was here a few weeks ago or about a month
Mhm.
ago. And like just the number of events and people and space and how like just
Ugh,
so many people interested in Web3. It's definitely, I feel like a good time, especially if you can find smart people that are building, you know, really interesting businesses or, you know, you can find use cases or things that you want to build and try to solve yourself. So,
absolutely. And I think it's so cool because Gary repeatedly keeps saying, like, I want to build the next NFT NYC. Um, and he wants to, what was the other one that he really liked? Like he always does every year and has jam sessions at.
oh, like South by Southwest, like that
Yeah,
type.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
He was like, all right, like he wants to compete with those. And he's going to go so hard for at least the first one,
Oh yeah.
um, which will then create more revenue for the next one. But if he's knowing how competitive he is, I think this is just going to be an insane experience, and I'm so excited for it.
I am too. Yeah. Who did you? So there was like a form that we all had to fill out, right? About like
Mhm.
preferences for VeeCon.
Oh, like who we
Any?
want to speak?
Yeah. Like, do you have any really good people that you put down, or interesting
Well,
people?
I put Kevin Hart, I put Zuckerberg, um, and I put, oh man, who else was it? I put The Rock. I think
Aha.
that'd be
Nice.
really
Okay.
cool. Um, I mean, there's so many ways you can go with speakers and stuff. I think Kevin Hart would be a really good one just to see. I've never heard him speak. I've heard like little snippets, but I've heard really good things about it. And the dude works hard, and he's in
Yeah.
so many different things. It's the same reason I'd want to hear The Rock. He's in so many different pieces of entertainment, and is just killing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit like have reinvented themselves multiple times, right? The Rock was a WWE guy, right? And then
Right.
moved into acting and then like
Well,
and
that's the
he
thing.
just
Like they pivot.
released a rap, right? Like
They, I know, and it went viral because it's The Rock. But he goes where the attention is, which and he's so many. I feel like a big part of why like names will start to fade out is because they're not willing to change what they do. Whether it's because they feel like they don't have the skill set to be in a different space, or they're just scared. And I feel like most of the time it's because they're scared. Because change is not something that we like as humans overall. But when you start getting practice and doing it, then it becomes a lot easier and a lot less scary. Okay, well, this is where things are going now. Let's pivot and let's stay ahead of the curve and stay in front of the attention. So long term, you can win, not just in the short term. And The
yeah.
Rock's just doing an amazing job at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's yeah, that kind of putting himself in a bucket, right? Other people might put you in a bucket of
Mhm.
like, oh, this is what you do, kind of what Gary talked about with
Exactly. I
him
never
being the
want to be in
wine
that
guy
place.
and
Exactly. I never want to be in that place where like, okay, this is what you do, and that's it. And I feel like I have to stay there. Like people will always try and put you in little categories, and then you just have to do the things to prove them wrong.
exactly. Exactly. So, did you get any of the PLPs, any of the drops?
Yeah, so I was not one of the fortunate ones, and either or any of the first three drops that was selected randomly. I was like, man, is my MetaMask working? Was just like everybody's like, man, what's going on? But ultimately, I mean, it was only 10% of the holders were gonna be able to get that. So the odds weren't in my favor anyway to begin with. I did buy the Dapper Dinos one. I bought one of those, and then I'm wildly active in terms of like staying up to date in the Discord. Anytime something's posted by Gary, I know about it. I try not to miss any hints. And so when they posted like this is for our active Discord members, like the first 555 people that even you just have to submit a form. It's not random at that point. I was in the middle of having an actual serious conversation with my girlfriend, and I there was like a pause, and I looked at my phone, and I saw that, and I was like, I know you're gonna hate me for this, but like I have to go right now to my computer. I was trying to do it on my phone, and it wasn't working for some reason. I'm like, you can yell at me later. This is really important. I need to go. Sprinted over to my computer and submitted the form, and I'm like, okay, I hope that works, because otherwise
Yeah.
that wasn't worth it.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Get in trouble on both sides. At least
Oh yeah.
let me get
Like,
the.
like if it works out, then we'll be like, see, remember that time?
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was lucky. I got the Grills gang and the uh the
Drops.
drops. Yeah.
Oh man, that's
So,
awesome.
yeah, got lucky with those. And then he posted the Avastars one, I went and did that. I know that wasn't an official
That was
PLP
a
drop,
mess.
but
I forgot about that. That was a mess, man. Which that was really early, right? So we're all still trying to figure like what's a gas fee. And yeah, I got ripped on that one. I think I submitted like 3 or 4 transactions. And I mean I was on it. Like I said, I'm very punctual when it comes to the time, especially in this space. And I was on that one and didn't get one and was super bummed. Um, but that was very short-term thinking and like emotional reacting at the time. Now it's just kind of by the time like the drops one happened, I was like, ah, okay, that stinks. Um, I
yeah.
did. I did get one of the brain vomits though,
Oh,
which
okay.
I was super stoked about. Again, he posted about it and was getting all hyped. And I guess gas fees went through the roof. I minted one. And so I minted it probably like 0.5 seconds before gas fees went through the roof. It was they were minting for 0.055 and I minted for 0.09. So I still paid a little bit in gas, but definitely some people were like, "Oh man, it's like $20,000 for gas." I'm like, no chance. I do
Yeah.
again wish I would have gotten more now that I understand the project better, but it's still not bad. I think it's sitting around under 4,
Okay. Nice. Yeah.
but really, really cool art project.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's some cool projects for sure. For sure. So what are you most excited about for VCon though?
I mean, again, hands down the networking. I think there's going to be some really awesome speakers, some opportunity to, even meet them, shake some hands, get some FaceTime. But it's more so like the in between events and the after, we'll call them after parties events. Just getting to meet people that are holders, getting to learn more about what they do, similar to what you're doing in this project, which is why I think it's so great. And just building those relationships. We think the community is really strong right now because we all have like a shared interest, right? And there's financials tied up into it that play into it. But I think that after VeeCon, no matter what happens with the floor price or any of the price when it goes into a winter, right, and people are getting scared and selling, I think a majority of the community is going to hold because one, we believe in Gary, we believe in the project, but also we want to keep this community. And I think the people that sold off really early, which I almost was one of them because I was like, oh man, $15,000 and I only put 2 grand into it. That's awesome. What a win at the time. Right. And then I would have just been miserable afterwards. But I think overall, like the community that is being built within here, the people that are buying even higher, right? But they want access to the community. I think it's going to be a big reason that long term the project wins, and because people just want access to the community. It's very similar. The probably a big reason I want an ape is because I want access to the community. I want access to the people. It has nothing to do with the financial side. It really doesn't, especially because you have to spend 120 grand to get in, right? I'm like, if I had 120 grand that I was okay with losing right now, I probably would buy into it just for the community and the people that are in there. Because you got to think about the caliber of people, the minds that are in there that you now have direct access to. The
Yeah.
same reason that the VeeFriends are so awesome. And I wish I would have bought a Hangout Hawk. I wish I would have bought a FaceTime frog, right? Like the things that really are the access tokens. And frankly, it's kind of what I'm working towards is getting, I think my next one, if I were to buy one, would be like a Hangout Hawk.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean those are cool. I was looking at those too and I was like, I just don't know if I have that kind of money to
Well,
to get one of these. I really want to do the tennis elbow one. I was like, there's only one of those, and like that would be a lot of fun. Or like the poker access
yeah,
to.
that would be so fun. Like playing basketball with him or tennis with him would be so awesome. I'll drop a little bit of alpha because I went and I actually met up with a um, VeeFriend holder that is right up like 20 minutes away from me. We went to a local bar around here and we ended up talking for, I don't know, like almost 3 hours just about this world and what we do and getting to know each other. He bought 4 cores and, or you think he bought 2 cores, a rare, and a Hangout Hawk. And he sold the first 3 and he kept his Hangout Hawk. He sold them for like not floor, but like an okay price. He kind of bites himself in the butt for it, but he had the Hangout Hawk, and I met up with him like the day after they had that first big Zoom call. He was telling me about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, like some of the stuff that Gary's dropping in this chat is insane. Um, but he goes, I was like, oh yeah, well, he's like, since you live right here, next time they do a Zoom, because they do 6 a year, I guess. It's like, just come over, like I'll let you know, and well, you can hop
That's
on. And I'm
awesome.
like, what? That's so sweet. But one of the things that was really cool he's telling me about in this was he can, I guess Gary was like, people are underestimating these tokens, these access tokens, they don't realize like it's not just access to me right now in these like couple FaceTimes over 3 years. It's like I can continue adding to these. It's like if I make like a global coffee shop called Hangout Hawk, and this is like the IPO, I give you 10% or 20% of all the sales and all the like as a royalty just for holding the token. You know how big that could be? And he's like he's throwing out little ideas like this that just blow your mind. And it's like I think we'll start really seeing over the next 4 to 5 years some of these like ideas being implemented in really big ways. And
Yeah.
like, man, I underestimated that. I think that's what he wants. Is like over the next few years, he's putting everything in place, and he's got the tokens in hands, he's got the money. And it's like, okay, what is the best way to maximize these to give everybody a big FU that
Yeah.
didn't buy in, even at like 35 or 40,000, whatever the floor price is right now.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense, and it's interesting because I think I bought the token. I was like, I viewed it as a conference pass. Like that's
Yep.
literally what I did. I
Well,
was like, I'll
yeah,
pay attention to this. It's gonna happen in 2022, and I didn't
sure.
pay attention to VeeFriends for like 3 months, like
Oof.
until
Yeah.
PLP stuff started happening, which was
Okay.
fine
Right.
because like
There wasn't
that
a
there was
ton going on. Yeah.
wasn't a
The floor
ton.
price
Probably
went up a
missed.
little bit, and that was about it.
Yeah, exactly. And like I don't know. So, but like I think you're right because you don't want to promise like, hey, I'm going to give you 30 years of access right away.
No.
But you're right. There's nothing stopping him from continuing to expand on what the actual access token was. And a
Mhm.
VeeFriends 2, it sounds like is more to get people in that couldn't afford or weren't sure or were hesitant to
Mhm.
give them a chance to be in the project. Then it sounds like there's not going to really be at least a proper VeeFriends 3 release for a very long time.
Yeah, I think he said 2025 or 2026. It was some like very not near year. Um, and so no, so he was talking about like that project's going to be way far from now, and VeeFriends 2 is really like he wasn't even planning on doing it this early, but VeeFriends 1 did so well, he wants to give one more opportunity for people, which it's still early, right? So I think there's still a lot of potential upside with that. I'll be curious to see what he actually does from a perspective of like utility,
Mhm.
because he's always going to favor VeeFriends 1. And I really wonder how he's going to roll it out, because the way he's talking about it, it's going to be hard to get a VeeFriends 2.
Yeah.
Like
It's not.
VeeFriends 1 and the book tokens are going to have really good opportunities, kind of like what he actually finally said, whitelisting, and VeeFriends 1 are going to have like a crazy opportunity for it, which I wonder how he's going to be able to manage that, because now we hold VeeFriends 1, we're like in it, right? So we want to buy in more, but not at 40 grand for $1,000. He's got to put something in place to stop us from sweeping it,
Oh,
right?
100%. Yeah. There's got to be
Because
some.
otherwise, like I'm going to buy as many as he lets me. I am. So
Exactly. Yeah. There's got to be a process, and it's like how do you reward the people that believed in you and have held and
while
have the
still
token?
the purpose of it is to get new people in, which I'm all for. Like, how do you manage that?
Yeah.
How are you able to do that and without making 100,000 tokens?
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting to see, and I think he does a good job of like dropping hints and then still does like the surprise piece to it. So like I'm sure we'll have a little bit of time to figure it out and try to like sort things, but not a ton of time.
Yeah, I think this book games piece is going to play into it in a way, and I'm really interested to see like how he ends up doing, especially with Wolf Game out now. Like people are kind of making rumors around that, but I think he made a comment about not like it's not going to be the same kind of thing. So I'm like, I haven't played a lot of games. I don't know if you have, but
Not in the
it's
NFT space. Yeah, I
yeah,
haven't
not
really.
in
I
this
don't.
space.
I've like researched like Axie
Sure.
Infinity and like some of the other
Yeah.
like play to earn games, but I haven't really participated. So
Yeah. I know, and I'm interested to see how he plays around with this, but it's really going to be around like how you play the game is going to matter. I'm like, some of these people that they bought 4 or 5, $600, $700, $800. Like, oh my gosh, what an advantage they're gonna have.
I know, yeah. I've got to have two.
I,
Like that's it. I
yeah,
bought
I was like, I
24
thought I
books.
was
I'm
cool
like,
with seven.
yeah. So it'll be, yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be cool to see how it plays out. And it sounds like they're gonna have utility into the long term as well, which, isn't
uh,
surprising.
oh yeah, I know, and I feel like it's going to be tough initially to not sell them because you're going to want to sell them for a VeeFriend 2, like to prep for it and stuff, especially with access that we have as VeeFriend 1 holders. But I think he's going to guilt me into holding them, and I know I'm not going to regret it. And I'll look back on this as like, why was I so like, man, I wish I could sell it. I haven't sold anything yet. I've never listed a single NFT that I bought, and I by no means hold a ton of NFTs. I think I have like 7 or 8, but um, yeah, I mean I want to start realizing rather than just on paper, but I get a feeling that I'm just gonna try and play the long game and just keep the investments and see how it plays out. I'm sure it's the smart move.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. Same thing. I haven't sold anything yet either. I actually, I think earlier this week listed for the first time like the
Mm,
Avastar and the Grills gang because I want to have
yeah,
some ETH for
sure.
VeeFriends too. Like that's
Yeah, I mean,
the
just to have some ETH,
yeah,
right?
just
If
ETH.
nothing
Yeah,
else.
that's been a pretty good investment too, right? That's the other
Hmm.
thing.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. So remember when we got the VeeFriends one launch, they like that was when ETH skyrocketed for the first time in a long time. It hit all-time highs during that.
It was like
And I
2,500 or
was
2,700 bucks.
yeah, well, it was crazy because I was in between jobs at the time. I took 2 months off trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was working construction with my dad, so I was like staying afloat, but I didn't have a bunch of money to lose, to be fair. And so like the way that I did it was like, this is my, if nothing else, this is my Christmas gift, my birthday gift to myself. Like this is my investment into networking to go to this conference when I bought it. But I bought, I decided I was gonna do it, and I bought one like just over one ETH at 2,500 dollars, and then it skyrocketed up to like $4,500 right before product launch. And I actually had the thought, I was like, should I just keep it in ETH? Like, is it going to keep going? There's no way this, because I didn't understand. It was like the chances of this project outperforming what ETHs are. Like, I could pull out right now, and just by even thinking about it, I made $2,000.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, right? Again, just another little moment where I'm like, man, I would have, oh, I don't even want to know what I would have done had I just been like, yeah, let's do that, and then watch it go back down to 1,800 like it did, and then watch VeeFriends hit
Exactly.
20
Yeah.
22 floor at one point.
Insane.
So
Insane.
crazy. It's been a fun ride so far. Definitely, I've learned a lot by holding. Honestly, it's like
What would you say
what?
is
Okay,
biggest takeaway so far?
biggest thing. It's funny. Patience. Just be patient, and if you, I think I've learned a lot because I've been on, I'd say, one big rug pull of an NFT. So also I learned a lot because you start asking, okay, well, why did this happen, right? And there's especially with so many projects coming into the space, it's it is very it's a dangerous space to get into right now. Um, and so biggest thing is just like, don't play with money you can't lose. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We don't know when the winter is going to be there, but we know it's going to come just from historics, right? And I think ultimately, like, just being patient. If you believe in a project, like, I hope it's because you believe in the person driving it, and it's not somebody just random. Like, you don't believe in Fred the monkey who's the CEO of the project, but you don't know his actual name, right? And nothing taking him to his real socials. And it's actually somebody that you're like, yeah, I've seen this person execute. They're gonna do it. They're all in. Whether this project goes to zero or not, they're still gonna keep giving value. And I think if you can find projects that are led by people that do that and that are like that, that's where you're going to have your worthwhile investment, especially if you believe in it too, right? So just don't just get on the hype train, and it's really hard not to. It is really, really hard. not to just follow the hype, especially with all of these Instagram accounts and like influencer accounts that'll hype something up, right? They're so good at marketing. They are
Oh yeah.
so good at marketing. And I mean, the best of us that even get it, like we know what we're looking at is not something we should invest in. Um, I don't know. Just be careful, especially if you're day trading. Um, it's very easy to lose money and a lot of money in this space. So just be thoughtful.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, it's a great reminder and great advice because it is all, wild, wild west still, right? We're super
Yeah.
early, and so everything's just still being sorted out. So being able to find people like, Gary, for example, that puts their real name behind it and is willing to stake their reputation in business, right? There's a level
I,
of a buy-in and a level of accountability with that you have to factor in whenever you're looking at any project.
oh, so true. And I think we're going to realize more and more that reputation in this space is going to be the biggest form of currency because based off of what you do right now, if you burn your reputation for a rug pull, long term, you're going to be screwed. You might, make 1 or 2 million off the front of it, but I mean, I don't know if you've ever thought about it, but I could blow 1 million in a week, right? It's not it's a lot of money for some people, but overall, like it's not life changing money for most people. It wouldn't be, right? Um, there's so much more in the span of our life that we can do if we're just thoughtful and don't burn our reputation off of to make a quick buck. So I think Gary's doing a great job of setting that example, and there are some other projects that are doing that as well. They're playing the long game. They're not just taking the money and running. They're reinvesting it back into the project like it's a business because it is, right? And they're trying to find ways to give value to the people that support them. And I think we're going to see that a lot with artists that see the value in this. And they're like, wow, people are finally paying attention. I want to give back to them. And those are going to be the ones that win, right? And so I think reputation is so, so, so important. And you really got to pay attention to, are these people putting their reputation on the line for this? If they are, that's a good sign, right? Like
Yeah,
they're willing to risk it all because that is going to be the biggest form of currency.
absolutely. Yeah, I agree, Gabriel. I definitely agree with that. So I want to give you the floor. So if there's anything like that you want to ask from the VeeFriends community, how can we support, whether it's, thinking about like opportunities in Web3 or something else, like what is your ask from the community?
Yeah, I mean, for all the VeeFriends holders, I would say just, you know, between now and VeeCon, don't feel like you have to wait to VeeCon to start talking to people. You can be active in the Discord. You don't have to be in general chat where it can get a little chaotic sometimes. Go in the VeeCon one and just start chatting with people. Ask where people are from, find things to connect with them. Find people on Twitter that are VeeFriends holders and just start chatting, right? Set up Zoom calls, start networking early on. Um, More than like, please reach out to me and start chatting. I will talk to anybody for as long as you let me talk. If you haven't gotten that vibe from this at all. But I want to meet you. I know a lot of people, everyone I've talked to wants to meet you. So if you're more on the reserve side, not used to networking, just reach out and say hi. I'm a VeeFriend holder. Like, can we have some coffee sometime? Right? Like, let's start building these relationships early on. And I think that's only going to make VeeCon 10 times more impactful when all of these different groups get to start networking off of their groups. Right? Like, if I know 10 people and you know 10 people, we don't know the same other 9 people. When I see Will at VeeCon, he's going to introduce me to his group that he's been building over the last 6 months. I'm going to do the same. And that's just going to, we're going to see some incredible things come out of VeeCon. And before then, and especially after then. So, like, let's just be friendly. Let's, have each other's backs and just create an amazing community that, everybody wants to be a part of.
Yeah, I love that, Gabriel. It's interesting. I was talking to Dean. He's in New York, and he's a musician, and was talking about how he'd already
Yeah.
connected with some other musicians in the Discord. And it's like we should get like a mixtape or something, you know, all the musicians and VeeFriends like put together, and you know, maybe it's just, you know, a couple people on one track or whatever, but put that together and like
Yeah,
blow it up. And like, I don't know, there's just, I
shoot,
feel like
I'd
there's so
buy
many
it.
cool things that we could do, you know, get them to play, you know, play at VeeCon, you know, like, I don't know, like
That's the
happy
thing.
hour or
Like
something,
we've
like,
we've got we've got over 5,000 people that are just holders, right? We got 5,000 people that want to support you, right? If you have an idea and it's good and people are like clicking with it, you have 5,000 people as a community that you have a shared interest with, right? Like you always want to find ways to connect with people. You already have one, right? So that alone will get somebody to say hi to you, right? And at least hear you out. I know, like, anytime somebody says anything that connects with me, it's like, okay, yeah, like I can get with that and I can talk about that. And it makes it a lot easier to start building these connections and sharing ideas and creating amazing things. Like, let's get a little band together and make a mixtape, right? And who knows what that'll turn into? Maybe it won't turn into anything, but I mean, if they put out a mixtape and sell it for $10, I'll buy it just
yeah.
because we have got to share an interest and I want to support you, right? And I'm sure there's so many people within that 5,000 people number and growing that want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So just be optimistic, reach out, talk to people, ask for help, share ideas, encourage other people, and I think this could be the start of something really special.
I do too. I do too. Yeah. I think just the opportunity, like you said, we already have a shared interest to be able to support each other on all the other projects and initiatives. And there's just so much I think that we can do as a community. So, how can people connect with you, Gabriel, outside of whether it's on Discord or Twitter? What's your preferred method and how can people find you?
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a huge social person overall. Social in terms of social media. Just I prefer to connect in person or like message directly. I have all the socials. My handle is GC Aleman, ALEMAN 7 for the moment, and that's across all of them. So Twitter is something that I've noticed is really big in the NFT space. So I've been trying to be more active on there. Already met some amazing people just in the last, I would say, week that I've really been active on there. So that's probably the best place if you want to reach me, connect with me, share content. I'm happy to support anything you're doing, and even just message back and forth. That's probably the best place to reach me at is Twitter.
Cool. Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks for sitting down. And yeah, it was awesome getting to know you. And I can't wait to actually meet you in person now.
Yeah, so great chatting. Well, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who got a chance to listen to this. I'm very excited to meet all of you at VeeCon.
Who's pumped for VeeCon? Smash that like and subscribe button. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you are a fellow VeeFriends holder, I'd love to have you on the show. Shoot me an email, VeeFriendsFam@gmail.com, and we'll get something on the calendar. I'm William Glass, your host and holder of an organized ostrich core. I'm wishing you nothing but the happiness, and I cannot wait to meet you in person at VeeCon.